So basically today I got invited on behalf of the Vancouver Uyghur Association to speak at this event. The struggles that the Myanmar people are facing are very similar to the struggles of many of the oppressed around the world. These are the first stages that we witness in genocides around the world. I am not saying this is a genocide, but I am fearful as an Uyghur of my people that are going through a genocide. I fear for them as I see many people who look like my family, many people that look like my brothers, many people that look like my cousins. I don't want to see them go through the same thing that I have been seeing. I don't want them to undergo the same situation that my cousin is going through. People here are willing, and the Myanmar people overall, they're willing to fight, they're willing to stand up. So it's useful for us to use this energy right now, rather than when the government pushes us back and silences us. So right now, when the voice is strong, right now, when the people are united, it is a time for us to stand up, and that's why I came here. Canadian government, when you look back in time, starting in the 1800s all the way up until 1996, there were residential schools for children where children were being deprived of their culture, they were being deprived of their families, they were being deprived of their identity. That is one thing amongst many things that Canada has done, unfortunately, to the Indigenous people, and we're working towards reconciliation right now. But I'm fearful that there will be nothing to reconciliate to for my own people, because very similarly, the Uyghur kids are being sent to re-education camps. Very similarly, the families are being torn apart. Very similarly, our scholars are being denied freedom. So because of that, I am fearful that the situation in Canada and how the Indigenous people here are struggling right now, that my people will struggle very similarly down the line. So I hold them very close and dear to my heart, as we can learn a lot from the Indigenous elders out here in Canada and how we can support the Uyghur people who are undergoing a genocide on all ways, an ethnic genocide, cultural genocide. When you look at the steps of how this goes forth, we are witnessing a full-blown genocide on the Uyghur people, and it's time for us right now. Unfortunately, we are silent about it, but it's time for us to stand up and mobilize. Oh, do I think that the Trudeau government is doing enough? Not at all. Not at all. We used to go to war. We used to go to war when we heard the likes of these. The closest people that are supporting the Uyghur people are the Jewish communities. They feel the pain and they feel the sorrow of what it's like to undergo a genocide. They know what it's like to undergo the sufferings inside of a concentration camp. They know what it's like. And we used to go to war, and I would have been willing to go to war in World War II to help my Jewish brothers. But now, for some reason, we are stuck in contracts. We are stuck in loopholes. What are these loopholes? They're all arbitrary. It doesn't matter. We are fighting a human-made world. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what world the humans made. We are fighting for humans. Lives are on the line. No matter how many contracts or pieces of paper are signed, a life is worth more than a piece of paper. A life is worth more than legislation. A life is worth more than a relationship with an oppressor. I want the Canadian government to realize that there is so much more we can do, and that we need to spark that change. The world looks up to Canada, so when we do something, we should not be fearful that we will be alone. No, when Canada speaks up, the world will follow. So to Trudeau and the Canadian government, I say, I hope that you see this first of all, and I hope you see what I mean, because I'm fighting for a real person. I'm fighting for my cousin. I'm fighting for my uncle. I'm fighting for my aunt, my cousin who are all lost. I love them, you know? And I don't think any piece of paper justifies what China is doing. Yeah. We need to understand that when the government of China brings forth and they collaborate with companies with with the likes of Huawei, we need to realize that it's beyond Huawei. Yes, we need to push Huawei out, but just because we push them out, we need to have a systemic approach. We can't just say, oh, stop Huawei. There are many more accomplices. When we are looking at which companies to boycott, we should look at the ones who are using forced Uyghur labor. The list doesn't start at Huawei and it doesn't end at Huawei. It's a long, long list, and we should condemn the actions of Huawei 100%. Stop the 5G from entering Canada through Huawei. We can work on our own technologies. Canadian government and the Canadian people are smart. We are strong. We are educated. We do not need Chinese influence in our country. We have our own geniuses. We have our own tech field. Why are we relying on these investors who they themselves do not own capital? They are relying on leverage. They're relying on other countries' money. China doesn't have their own money. They're right now in so much debt. We don't need China money. I've been saying this all along, and any Hong Kong supporter, any Uyghur supporter, anyone anti-CCP will tell you, there is no need for China money. We are rich. We will give you the money. Stop CCP influence and stop Huawei and many other companies like Zara, like Calvin Klein, like the list goes on. Recently, Nike and H&M, they stopped, but there are many companies to stop. Thank you. We right now we have the CFO of Huawei sitting in a prison. She lives in a mansion in Vancouver. She gets fed, she gets loved, she has people coming in and out of her mansion. My cousin has been oppressed. He's probably sitting in a jail cell rotting right now. You see, when I talk about this, it hurts my heart. But because I'm a man who needs to fight for his family, I do not let this get to me. So when we are treating the CFO of Huawei, the same person who was putting my cousin and likes of my cousin in jail, we are treating them like royalty. I won't tell you how that makes me feel, but only imagine what is the rage that I hold in myself. When we look at Canadians who are being sent overboard in China, look at the two Michaels. Do you think they're living in a mansion? Do you think they're enjoying the lavish lifestyle that our CFO out here in Huawei is living? No. And you are saying that you are a country that fights for equity and equality. That's not equality for me. My two Michaels are being, right now as we speak, probably being beaten, punished. You know, I don't want to make that claim. But what do you think is happening in these jails, right? I'm only a teacher. I am only a high school teacher. I only want to teach chemistry and science. That is my dream and my goal. But unfortunately, because of the oppression that I have faced, I have to speak up.